Now to get more discussion, let's turn to our studio guest, Professor Zhang Lifeng from Fudan University, and also Mr. Joerg Wuttke, President of the European Union Chamber of Commerce in China. Well, gentlemen, if you were at the Great Hall of the People and you could get a chance to raise the questions to the Premier, what will be your top list?
Actually, until very recently, I've been covering the two sessions as well as the Premier's press conference in the past 6 years.
Right.
So last year I was there, and also all the previous 6 years.
You were with Financial Times?
Yeah,
So
I was the
as an international media outlet.
I was representing the EFT and for those occasions. So here I'm now as a commentator. So I think there's a lot of questions for a country like China. A huge capacity and huge complexities. I think you always find loads of meaningful questions to ask to address the Premier. As Tim just mentioned that actually today's session is probably one of the most important calendar events for any Premier. Today, Li Keqiang, the Premier, is going to be the prime spokesperson for his cabinet, for his government. So I think my question is really from the view of international media now as academic is how confident China is going to take China's economy and the social development forward. And each and every year when you read the working report of the Premier, including Li Keqiang and his predecessor Wen Jiabao, there's an anxiety building up in terms of the complexity of Chinese issues that the government and the people has to deal with. So I really hope that the Premier Li Keqiang will be able to give us clearly, honestly, about his views of the direction that the country is going economically and socially. So I think we're not expecting any silver bullet and from the government or from the Premier. But certainly I think the media and the people and the public want to hear some honest assessment about the fundamentals of China.
And maybe they would also like to hear assurances from the Premier.
Absolutely.
But that's probably one thing the Premier couldn't deliver, because at the opening day of the MPC, he warned of a very tough battle ahead for the Chinese economy.
Yes, I mean, insurance is one thing. Of course, the mechanisms they want to implement in order to overcome this difficult transition period, again, supply side overcapacity. If I would have an opportunity to ask the Prime Minister, because in his work report, as you alluded in the beginning, he actually raised the issue of importance of an investment agreement. Europe and the US are stepping up in order to investment agreement. This is related with a strong Chinese intent to go global, to invest in Europe and in the United States. And of course I would be very interested to see how big a priority is this, where do you see it leads, will it be concluded in end of 16, beginning of 17, because European community really wants a signal from the State Council and the government, more openness, more level playing field, the invisible hand being strengthened, hence the investment agreement, which is part of his work report on the last priority. Does it have really a last priority, or is it important to China?
Well, the economy, of course, will be a main focus at this year's press conference. Of course, there will be so much more: domestic policies, political agenda, and also diplomacy.